Hello and welcome back to the Villa Filler podcast. I'm here once again with my good friend Dan Wiseman. Dan, although there's probably been about 3 videos since we've last spoke, it's actually been quite a while.
Yeah, it has, man.
How you doing, bro? How's things? How's life?
Oh, mate, yeah, crazy. Starting a new job. Cat's out the bag.
How do you?
Yeah, thank you. Started a new job at BBC Sport. Absolutely buzzing. Team's been great and everything like that. It's been a load of fun. It's actually had a sort of reverse knock-on effect because, like, you'd think I'd watched more sport since I got into BBC Sport, but on my first day, I got in and no one was talking about sport. Everybody, all the water cooler chat was about Love Island. Right. And I've never watched Love Island before, but like everyone was talking about it. And I was on Zoom yesterday. And obviously like it started a couple of days ago and everyone was talking about Love Island. And like, I was just sat there on this Zoom in like a 15-man Zoom call, like the only person that didn't get it. So I've started watching Love Island this year. In the hope that I'll go back into the office tomorrow, a couple of days working from home. So I actually found myself at points watching like Love Island over like the Nations League, and I'm like, I swear when you work at BBC Sport, it's supposed to be like the other way around. Like my life is dominated by live sport, but it's actually been the other way around. Watching ITV shows as well, which makes it all the more controversial. But no, that's been great, mate. That's been great. And then I've got to give a shout out as well. And then I'll hand it back over to you. Got to give a shout out because I don't want to forget, because I always forget when people say this. I was at Nebworth last Sunday. It was a great day. Shout out to all the boys that I went with. I'm sure some of you are listening. We had an absolute blast. But I was there and Kasabian with the supporting act, which was like wicked. We saw Kasabian and I was walking back out. We were going to get a drink or like something to eat or whatever. And I got stopped and this guy was like, "Oh, yeah, you're Dan from the Villa Filler podcast." And I was like, "Yes, I am, mate.
No way.
Yes, I am. I am so sorry." We had a really nice chat, spoke about the Villa. He said some really complimentary things about the podcast and everything like that. It was super, super nice. Still feels so surreal, doesn't it, mate, when you get picked up on it? And I'm really sorry, because you can tell this doesn't happen often because I keep forgetting to get people's names. So I'm really sorry to whatever your name was that stopped me.
You sure it wasn't Cal?
Yeah, it could have been. Who knows? Yeah. Yes. But yeah, to whoever you are, mate, I hope you have a great day in Nebworth. And it was, it was great to chat. Yes, if you're listening, drop it down below. I'm sure you are. Because I said I would shout you out on the podcast, just didn't get your name. We've started a new job and like going down to Nebworth and everything like that. It's been a bit of a crazy week, so it's good to be back here with you, mate.
It is, mate. It is. And while we've been gone, it's safe to say that the transfer rumours have been flying about here, there, and everywhere. I'm sure you guys have probably seen from the podcasts. Everyone's covered them. We have to cover them. So we thought we'd group them all together and do a fullback special, left back special specifically. Today, Matt Targett has left the club. Finally, it feels like they're saying the deal was worth 15 million. The way that's been split has been the 3 million loan fee that they paid, and then there was it was a sort of a pre-arranged fee from what we're seeing, mate, wasn't it? A 15 million loan, 3 mil, 12 mil to buy in the summer. And I think there's some people that are split on this. I don't think anybody particularly wanted to keep Targett, but I think reading between the lines, some people may have been in dreamland or football manager land thinking that we would get any more than 15 million for this guy. We overpaid for him in the first place. We paid 17 million for this guy when he was not worth that at all. And sure, I think it's fair to say he's a Premier League left back. We have to give him his dues there. He would look comfortable in at least any of the bottom half sides, and for what Newcastle need right now, I don't think they can scoff at it personally, but we're not going to get 25 million pounds of some of the ludicrous fees I've been seeing banded around for this one, mate. Especially when we've been all been as vocal as to say how much we hate this guy and how much this guy has been awful and how much he's fallen off. Surely somebody at Newcastle's reading Villa Twitter and going, "Do you know what? I reckon we can haggle him down to 10 million."
Yeah, mate. It was one of those where like I sort of looked at it and I was like, if we broke even, I would have been like, yeah, like absolutely fine. I think it was about like the fee was like, it was really weird. We sort of overpaid for him. I remembered it being in my head around 17 or 18 million, but I looked on like Transfer Marks and they had it like at 13. I was like, I don't remember it being that low. So I'm going to guess it was somewhere in the middle, which is about where we've signed him for, if my memory serves him correctly. And obviously this is about 15 million we've sold him for. So it seems all right. I think I would have liked to maybe squeeze like 2 or 3 million more out of it, just because sort of he has come on since we signed him. He is inherently a better player than the one we paid that for. And like, you know, obviously we've given him like, you know, 89 games he's played for the club. He's won a Fans Player of the Season award. And yeah, so maybe I'd like to squeeze a couple more out of it, but it felt like an inevitable deal. And like, yeah, it's one of them where like, I looked at his stats and like he got five assists for Villa in 89 games. And he scored 3 goals. And to be fair, on the whole, those goals were quite important. But 5 assists in 89 games is not it, man. I actually looked at it and Digne has played 16 games and he has 4. So already he needs 1 more assist and he's matched Matt Targett's return in the 2.5 seasons he had with the club. That Fans Player of the Season award, looking back, felt a bit like a Most Improved award, didn't it? Because he wasn't the player of the season.
Player.
Like, no, seriously, he wasn't the player, the best player that season. If you ask anybody who's the best player from the lockdown season, you're getting Jack Grealish, you're getting Ezri Konsa, you're getting Emi Martinez. No one's saying Matt Targett. He just came on the most, and it was nice that he got an award to recognise that. But yeah, it was a Most Improved award. Like, if we're being real, and like it's a credible achievement. He came on a lot. But I don't know. It's like one of them, maybe squeeze a few more out of it. But I don't think we were going to be sat there any time in the future saying, I wish we could have squeezed 2 or 3 million more out of Newcastle, especially because they're, you know, as rich as they are. So, yeah, I mean, look, I wish him all the best. Good luck to you, Matty. I hope you do really well. I do think there is a reality check coming for Newcastle. I don't want to say he's a bad player. I just don't think like he's 5 assists in 89 games. I'll leave it there.
Exactly. I don't think there's any more needs to be said on that, mate. And Villa have been on the hunt for a deputy, I want to say. Now, you know, we've had the discussion before, mate. You know, realistically, Villa are at the stage now where they have to buy better than they have. The question is, are the 2 chaps that we're about to talk about better than Matt Targett or Luca Dean? Which clearly, I don't think any, you know, I think, he is clearly going to be the starting left back for the next 2 to 3 years. Because that's what we paid the money for him. We'll start with Quentin Merlin of FC Nantes, mate, because I think this has been the one that I think a lot more people have been excited about. And I actually think it's Sergio Gomez, to be perfectly honest, who I think is the more exciting out of the 2, but we'll get onto him a bit later. Merlin, for those of you who aren't aware, 20-year-old left back from FC Nantes, really has had what I'd call a breakout season. I'd say, you know, he's really established himself in that side, and Nantes have actually had a decent season. I think they finished 9th this season, mate. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they're building quite the decent side. The likes of William Gubels on loan from Monaco, brilliant midfield with Fofana and Decore, who's a player we spoke about last month, mate, as a potential target for the 6th position, who's a fantastic player. And again, I think we both very much like it if he was linked. But this is an interesting one, mate. You know, 2 goals, 3 assists in 28 League One appearances last season. Where do you stand on this one, mate, before we sort of have a bit of a deeper dive into the stats?
Yeah, this is good. I'm happy that we're now targeting players like this, because I think this is where you find value in the market, isn't it? It's like, it's all very well and good picking up your 30, 40 million pound buys, but this is where the scouting department and the recruitment and the talent ID and the amazing people we have working at the club can really come into their own. They can dig deep into Europe, play a money ball system, and try and pick out some gems at a cut price fee that have that high resale value, which has been sort of stapled on as a real important to the recruitment process at the club. I think going into these teams, especially in League One, where there's some real quality, especially at sort of the right side of like 25. I'm really excited by both of these talents. I don't think they're people that people know too much about, but you look at the likes of Brighton, who are particularly good at this. I feel seems like they just spawn guys, don't they? You got like, obviously people knew about Mark Cucurella and stuff like that, but there's so many guys in that Brighton side that they've gone and picked up that didn't really have too much of a reputation before, but have come in and have really helped the club. And I think Basuma is a perfect example. I mean, who I dare say too many people could tell you too much about Yves Basuma pre-Brighton. There's a few. Mwepu finished the season. He had a fantastic end to it. A lot of their squad is these kind of guys. I think it's a good place to start.
Absolutely, and the interesting stat for me: 5.89 progressive passes made per 90. Which puts him within the top 6 percentile of fullbacks over the past year. Really impressive. Progressed the ball a total of 2,983 yards last season, which is significantly higher than Luca Dean, who progressed 2,482 yards. And for the sake of comparison as well, Matt Targett, who only progressed it 1,769 yards. That is for both Villa and Newcastle, and in Dean's case, Villa and Everton. Interesting, mate. It's interesting because, naturally in Ligue 1, you're going to have more space, you're going to have more freedom to kind of venture up and down the pitch in that fullback position. We've seen it's not as physical, it's not as quick as the Premier League, and it's not a bad league by any sense of your imagination, but it's important to kind of get a bit of perspective on why these stats are as high as they are, because if you look at the defensive metrics, they're not earth shattering, they're not groundbreaking whatsoever, but that isn't really the role of the fullback that we're looking for, really. Of course you have to be able to defend, but we've seen that we're looking to try and create chances from our fullbacks, use that width to really stretch our opponents. Made 69 crosses last season. Interestingly, created 2.62 shot creating actions per 90 as well. So he's somebody who is clearly he's capable of providing for his team and has done. And the numbers aren't majorly impressive when you look at the actual output in terms of goals and assists. Only 2 goals and 3 assists, but he's just shy of Luca Dean's 2.92 shot creating actions per 90 as well. So you can kind of see he's almost made in the same mold, really, isn't he, mate? Because I think it's fair to say Dean can defend and has certainly improved on that towards the back end of the season as well. But he's an attacking fullback.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's a couple of things to caveat, which I think both sort of help and hinder a couple of those arguments, mate. And the sort of main one is that Nantes usually play with a 5. And so what that means is he's playing more as a wing back, which means that, yes, he's probably going to slightly underperform in some of those defensive aspects. But then it sort of, you can flip it the other way and say that, you'd probably like a bit more on the offensive end. And so, you can sort of flip it both ways. I mean, Nantes, they were a good team in Ligue 1 last season, secured a top half finish in between Lille and Lyon in 10th and 8th. So, good campaign all round. They had not a bad defence by all accounts, conceded 48 goals in 38 games. And they're a pretty attractive side to watch. They got to the final they won. I think I can't remember. They either got to the final or they won. My memory is lost. Yes, they won the Coupe de France. Sorry. So they had all around a pretty good season. I think he's someone that you can clearly see that the work rate is there and the intensity. He averages 17 pressures a game, which puts him into the top 12% of fullbacks generally. But what's interesting is that, again, it seems that with every stat there's something to caveat with. In those pressures, his success rate is just 25%, which puts him in the bottom 6%. So I feel like, either his defensive effort is being misused or they're not quite getting the best out of him. But there's quite a lot of stats which sort of give you hope, and then some things which raise a few eyebrows. It's really difficult to gauge him. I think if it's one of them where you would really like to see him in another system, perhaps with another team, just to gauge exactly how he is in these metrics. It's just we don't know whether that will prove to be the Villa yet.
No, that's the thing, mate. And I think for me at least, the much more attractive of the pair, Sergio Gomez of Anderlecht. And it's funny you mentioned Marc Cucurella, mate, because I get major Cucurella vibes off this guy. Incredibly diverse, can play left back, left mid, left wing, wherever you want down that left flank. Scored 5 and assisted 12 last season in the Juniper Pro League in 34 appearances. Interesting, 24% of the goals that Anderlecht scored last season, he had a part in. That's remarkable. He's a left back. He has played on the wing. It is important to say, but he didn't miss a game in the entire campaign last year. And what really stuck out to me, mate, when I was comparing him to Merlin and also to Dean and Targett, mate, he completed 264 crosses last season. Merlin only completed 69. Dean completed 96, and Targett only completed 71. That's ridiculous, mate. That is absolutely ridiculous. It's nutty. You guys may remember he was spoken quite highly about a few years ago when he was at Borussia Dortmund, and he's had a few loans and he sort of found his feet at Anderlecht. Now, it's going to be interesting to see where this guy goes, because there has been a fair bit of interest. Everton are, another big club who are seemingly after him. I don't really see why, especially when they've only just signed Mikolenko for that side. But looking at the CV, mate, he's a German Super Cup winner. He's also been a runner-up in the Bundesliga. He's a UEFA Youth League winner. He's gained promotion from the Spanish second division, and he's been a European Championship for Spain at both under-19s and under-17s. And when we talk about the winning mentality that Gerrard wants to sign, you're getting a 2-in-1, mate. You're getting 2 for the price of 1. You're getting a young lad with a lot of potential and somebody who knows how to win things.
Yeah, mate, this is crazy, right? Because he's a player that he was an attacking midfielder, and I'm not talking on the left and the right. He played through the middle, and I remember watching. It was when I was out in the States the summer of 2019. I remember watching the under-19s Euros. I was like an absolute sponge for football that year. It was because in America, they have the rights for literally everything. So it's every TV, every game of football that was on at the time was televised. And there wasn't a lot going on through the summer. There was the women's championships were on and stuff like that. And so I remember the under-19s Euros. And I always tried to watch bits of those competitions. And I remember, obviously, he won it with Spain, and he was a star. He was amazing. He was at Borussia Dortmund at the time. They'd picked him up from La Masia. And I was like, wow, okay, in the Bundesliga, this guy's going to be brilliant. And then he secured a loan to Huesca, which is they were in the second tier at the time over in Spain. They went on to win promotion, and he stayed with them for another year. And I sort of lost track of him a little bit at that time. And then all of a sudden he's popped up at Anderlecht and he's playing as a left back. And I'm like, well, where did this happen? But it seems like he's absolutely loving it, mate. I think it is a testament to himself and his ability that he's able to play in those kind of positions and succeed in them ultimately. You're right. He's been absolutely fantastic over at left back in Belgium. He's actually played a little bit, and I'm literally talking a handful of games, maybe 1 or 2 at right back this season as well. So not something to say for sure. He can hop over there if you like, but it is at Anderlecht where they've converted him into a fullback. He was sort of making his way there in his time with Huesca in La Liga. They started him. They sort of moved him from an attacking midfielder out to the wings. He played as a left winger, then as a right winger. Then they sort of moved him back into a wide midfield role, and but it's in Belgium where he's picked up that mantle and has become a left back. And they've really reaped the rewards. It's a real good job from the guys at Anderlecht to convert him into that kind of talent. Because we were talking about sort of Matt Targett's stats at the top and stuff like that, mate. And for all in all, 49 games for Anderlecht, 15 assists, 7 goals. It's good reading.
It really is, mate. It really is. Market value has him down at £9 million. I can't imagine you'd be paying any more than 15 million. Obviously, what you read on transfer marks and stuff, they're just sort of rough estimates. But when a Premier League club comes calling, there will be a couple million added on top of that. So this is a really interesting one, mate. It'd be great to see how this one goes. And, we've got Ben Chrisen as well, which is like, is it a loan for him? If you get someone like this in, are they going out on loan, or are they going to be there to compete? It throws up a couple of interesting questions, mate, but it's certainly a position that we sort of need the cover in. Thankfully, Dean managed to recover from his broken shoulder bone or whatever he has fairly quickly, and actually came back a better player for it, to be quite honest, I thought. But it's going to be interesting, mate. There's still a few glaring positions that we need to get sorted, but I think either one of these, and I think, the summer business that we've done is, we're continuing to make improvements to the squad. And I don't think we can complain, can we?
No, absolutely not, mate. Absolutely not. I think ultimately, if we end up paying a similar fee for this guy as we've just sold Matt Targett for, I think we can consider that pretty big business because, ultimately, as we've seen with Targett, it's very rare that you let these guys leave for any less than they've joined. I think his market value increases ultimately as soon as they join the Premier League. He doesn't have to play a game, and as soon as he's a Premier League player, that ultimately. So I think it's one of them where he does have a high-end resale value. He's still so young. I think he's 21. If memory serves me correctly, I think I'll join you in saying he's the one I'm hottest on out of the two. But I'm genuinely at a point now, mate, where I was like, you know what, whoever the club want to go for, whoever they think is the right call, I'll wholeheartedly back. We haven't really missed a beat with transfers. On the whole, they've been pretty good. And so, I'm happy to put faith in them, and I'll welcome whichever of these two guys, if it is to be either of them, to the club.
Fantastic, mate. Absolutely. Guys, let us know in the comments down below your thoughts on the links, on Matt Targett, on anything. We'd love to know, and hopefully we'll be back soon with a signing announcement. That'd be nice, mate, because it's been a little while. Robin Olsen signed, obviously. Yep.
It's no fun when the club's disorganised, is it? When the club is disorganised and all the business is done in the first 2 weeks, it's no fun. I miss when we were a mess and there's like rumours flying in and players are leaving. It's chaos. Yeah, it was better. It's no fun when they actually know what they're doing.
No, how dare they? How dare you? You should think of us here at the Villa Filler podcast. But guys, if you enjoyed, make sure you hit a like, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe for more content. Up the Villa.